Hello my soccer universe, to the review of a very truncated Serie A round thanks to this unnecessary Supercoppa, and yes, there's a Milan derby in the evening, but I'm not gonna watch that one because I don't care about competitions of Italian teams playing in Saudi Arabia, and the Supercoppa is anyway a secondary trophy. I heard there was a crazy own goal that gave Milan the win over Juventus. However, the Serie A round, didn't really warm me up either because there were plenty of nil-nil draws. At least the two top games delivered. However, they were also very one-sided. Napoli are now top of the table thanks to a rather emphatic 3-0 scoreline at Fiorentina. Fiorentina's defense is something that has me really worried, and I think Fiorentina are gonna fall down. And then Roma got a big derby win over Lazio, and that also means that Lazio is now on a really bad run of form again. Their win at Napoli maybe was a little bit of a fluke, potentially. We gotta see. Other than that, a whole lot of draws. It doesn't look good for Monza. Cagliari got also a win. So let's dig right in. The Serie A weekend started with a 1-1 draw between Venezia and Empoli in the Lagoon. Bojan gave Venezia the lead in very curious fashion when a goal kick from the goalie was intercepted and into the net. In the 5th minute, you thought this might give Venezia a lift. However, it was largely Empoli that dominated the game. They got the deserved equalizer in the 32nd minute. Second half, ebbed and flow. Both teams had chances, maybe a little bit more for Empoli. It ends in a 1-1 draw, a result that really doesn't help Venezia especially. In one of the two standard ties of the weekend, Napoli went to Florence and beat Fiorentina 3-0. Game in the first half I think was rather level. Napoli took the lead in the 29th minute through David Neres, who ran from midfield 1-2 with Lukaku and then went past a few defenders and thunders it into the net for a brilliant opening goal. Moise Kean thought he had gotten the equalizer, however there was a handball in there, kinda contentious as well, and Fiorentina had a few more chances to equalize. However, right after the half, Anguissa is brought down in the box stupidly. Fiorentina's defense is not convincing me this season, I gotta say. And Lukaku steps out, makes it 2-0, more or less settling the game. In the 68th minute, McTominay, after a cross is deflected into his path, makes it 3-0 for a very emphatic win. Napoli now top of the table. However, the contenders have games in hand. And then on Saturday evening, Verona, after the big win at Bologna, took on Udinese at home in sorta a local derby. Udinese were looking to score for the 10th year in a row in the first game of the season. However, they were denied by Montipo, who was the star of the show. Udinese probably should have won this game based on chances. However, it ends in a 0-0 draw. Monza's stay in Serie A hangs on a very, very thin thread after losing at home to Cagliari 2-1. They took the lead through a Caprari penalty. However, Sortea equalizes and actually had then a little bit more of the game as well. Early in the second half, Monza hit the crossbar and Piccoli made the goal. Then D'Ambrosio sent off with a red card, and that more or less settles the game in favor of Cagliari, who look like they might be on the path again to survival. Lecce and Genoa also play out a 0-0 draw. It was a game that Lecce largely dominated. However, Genoa hit the woodwork twice within one action in the first half. Second half again, same story. However, after about an hour, the game really fizzled out and it ends in a almost logically 0-0. And it was almost a game of two halves when Torino took on Parma. Also a 0-0 in the first half. It was all Torino, who just cannot find the breakthrough. Especially Shea Adams had a pretty big chance there. However, in the second half, there was nothing of the energy coming from Torino. It was actually Parma who had a couple of chances. However, they also cannot find the breakthrough in the end. It's, I would say, a lucky draw for Parma, given the big chance that Torino had. But again, another disappointing 0-0. And then in the evening, Roma got a super important 2-0 win over their local rivals Lazio. A Lazio team that was 15 points ahead of them ahead of the game. However, it was Roma that asserted early on quite a lot of pressure with the second chance. Pellegrini, beautiful shot into the corner, gave them the lead. And then it's Dovbyk and Dybala who unleashed Salamakers onto the goal. It is saved by Provedel first, but on the rebound he taps it home. It's 2-0 after 18 minutes, and there was no real coming back for Lazio. Yes, they asserted a little bit more pressure, especially at the beginning of the second half. However, Svilar stood tall, and then in the end Roma saw it out relatively easy. They could even afford to take Dybala off and bring a few more fresh faces. At the very end, then Castellanos and Hummels got at each other. I think Hummels was a little bit play acting and got Castellanos sent off as well, and was a Roman derby without a melee. The other surprising thing to me is that Paredes actually stood on the field, because he was walking right on the line to getting a second yellow card, but hey, he stayed on for the full 90. Big win for Roma. The table currently makes for a little bit of difficult reading because while Napoli is on top 3 points ahead of Atalanta, Atalanta have that one game in hand that will be played in 1.5 weeks, and Inter have 2 games in hand, and actually if they win this one they are clear on top of the table as well. So really hard to gauge. You would still think that Inter will go this all the way to the title. The good news for Milan fan like me was that Lazio and Fiorentina were losing, meaning actually that Juventus also have now a relatively easy way to leapfrog Lazio if they would win their game in hand. And if Milan get a little bit of a run together, I think you should be able to catch Fiorentina and potentially Lazio as well. But you know, those 2 teams have not really proven that they're also really good. On the bottom, Cagliari now move out of the relegation zone ahead of Lecce. I could see them potentially surviving. It really looks bad for Monza. Venezia also don't get the leads home and don't get wins, although they had a little bit of a resurgence as of late. I actually think we will in for a relegation dogfight, and I would say at least Parma down, everyone is relegation threatened there. Roma now have stabilized. They move in the top half of the table, and I have a feeling that they might push it a little bit further. Roma actually look like a team under Ranieri. The upcoming round has a lot of games where there are clear favorites. Lazio taking on Como, for instance. Atalanta going to Udinese, and Udinese is never an easy ground, but Atalanta should win that one. Maybe the derby Torino between Juve should be something, but it's such a one-sided derby. I don't see anything but a Juventus win because Torino always fall over for Juve. Milan against Cagliari, yes, it's a resurging Cagliari side, still should be an easy win. We have Venezia against Inter, should be an easy Inter win. Bologna-Roma, that could be a tight one. Bologna having now a week off as well to prepare for that one. Let's see, Napoli should win easily over Hellas, and then Fiorentina have to go to Monza and maybe can end their bad streak. I would say Genoa against Parma is a pretty big one for the relegation duel, because if there's a loser, that team really will go into the relegation zone. And yeah, that's pretty much it, but it's not the most exciting set of fixtures, but maybe we will get some exciting games in there. So that's my Monday roundup from Serie A. On purpose, I really didn't want to get into the Supercoppa final. In any case, please let me know your thoughts on what you saw on this weekend. Give me a thumbs up, enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. I'll talk to you soon about more things in my Serie A universe. Bye! Hey there! I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, here are some videos and playlists that you may enjoy too. Also, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the little bell icon so you get notified whenever something happens in my soccer universe. And with that, have a wonderful day. Bye!